Hi guys, so today I am going to be talking about a part of recovery that in my opinion is, the most painful and physically and mentally, and it just really sucks. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking about refeeding or weight restoration, whatever you want to call it. I have been through refeeding twice. The second time was harder than the first time because I was having really bad side effects with the medication that I was taking, but once we got me off of that medication, it went a little more smoothly. So there are a lot of things that I did and that the people around me did in my treatment center who were refeeding. And a lot of these things make it so much better. And I think the good part about refeeding in a treatment center is that a lot of the people around you know what you're going through. The staff know what you're going through. The nurses see it every day. They know how to help you. They know medications that would help you. And yeah, just the fellow patients is helpful. I guess is helpful. Yeah. So just being around people who know what they're doing is extremely helpful. So the first thing, and I think this was most popular when I was in treatment the first time, and some of these things you might not be allowed to have. I didn't use this during my second round of refeeding because we weren't allowed to have it anymore because of safety concerns with it. But basically what I'm talking about is either a heating pad, a little bean bag. Sometimes they're filled with rice or beans. Sometimes they have lavender in them and you heat them up in the microwave. Or a hot water bottle. But I call mine, but my treatment center calls them water babies because you basically hold it like a baby. So this is mine. So as you can see, it's like the hot water bottle. They're $10 to $20 at CVS or Rite Aid or Walgreens, whatever you go to. And we made these covers out of fleece. Some of them were sewn, but my mom and I made this one. It has elephants on it because that's my favorite animal. So yeah, we just cut it into strips, the sides, and then just tie them together. So I don't know how much this holds, but it's pretty heavy. So yeah, this is good to have after meals. Don't lay with it on your stomach because that can cause acid reflux, and so that's not very helpful. But if you just sit with it and hold it and kind of hug it, because you hold it like a baby, and people would just walk around holding them. And it was a great community of water babies. We just kept them in bins, and we had a hot water access on our unit. But as I said, the second time I was in treatment, the hot water was turned off and we were not allowed to have these. But we were sometimes allowed to have, it would be a gallon freezer baggie and then towels, and then we would soak them in water. Then you put the towels in the freezer baggie and then heat up in the microwave for 20 to 30 seconds. And that would take the place of this. And that was similar to this, which is just a bean bag. Pretty sure it's filled with rice. You can make homemade versions of these. I was thinking about making a homemade version so that it's bigger. This one, I think, is the biggest size. So they're called Mother Earth pillows. And it doesn't smell very good. The ones with lavender do smell good though. But yeah, if you just heat this up, this is normally used for your eyes, but if you do make your own or buy a bigger one, then it would be helpful for your stomach. So basically this just calms your stomach when you have a fullness feeling, which will accompany you along the ride of refeeding. It is a very bumpy ride, but gotta get through it. It's very, very important. So the next thing I have is wearing loose clothing. So nothing that kind of just like hugs your stomach, or like pants that like dig into your stomach. And this is just to, again, help with nausea and acid reflux. So I guess I didn't really explain what refeeding is. So when you need to like up your nutrients or up your weight or get your period back, that's typically when refeeding is used to start feeding you, and you will get an increased meal plan, which is usually going to be more than the average person's needs. But you have to remember that that is what you need. Just because someone else doesn't need it doesn't mean you don't need it. And it can be painful for many reasons. First of all, it's a lot of food. Second of all, your digestive system can be damaged from restrictive eating disorders and from bulimia tendencies as well. Refeeding, as I've said, was easier for me because I was experiencing extreme hunger, which is where my metabolism, when it got food, it just kept wanting more. Now, sometimes, a lot of the times, anorexia can lower your metabolism because your body is not used to getting food, so it wants to hold on to it. Now, for me, my body burned through the food really quickly, so I was hungry all the time. And the bad thing about this for me was that everyone else who has meal plans that are high and sometimes even lower than mine are like stuffed, and they would complain about it all the time because, you know, it's like painful. But for me, I was like, hey, like I'm on a really high meal plan and I'm still hungry, like I still want to eat more. But obviously when you're in treatment, they make sure that you don't eat more than you're supposed to if you are refeeding, because there is a thing called refeeding syndrome, and it is actually deadly. But if you stop it when it starts to happen, you can get back on track. Now, I don't really know any people who have experienced it in my treatment center because the dietitians were very careful. So they would have 2 increases like once a week, and that is to make sure that you do not have refeeding syndrome. I am not well informed on the symptoms of it, but it's definitely something you could talk to your doctor or dietitian about. So the third thing is to distract yourself in between meals and during meals. So in between meals would be, you know, sometimes you're in group therapy, but if you are on break or you're doing this at home through FBT or on your own, things like watching TV shows, just having conversations with people, playing board games, just all types of things, but making sure they're non-eating disorder related. So instead of talking about like how much pain you're in, you know, try to distract yourself. And then during meal times, we would play table games. Now, if you're with your parents or you're at home, you could like watch like a comedy or something while you're eating, or just something that's going to distract you from the pain you're in or from the food you're eating. Now, it is important to be able to eat without constant distraction, but for now, I think it is important to just get your body back to a place where you have a period, you are nourished properly, and you are at a healthy weight that your doctor and or dietitian has set for you.
Hey guys, so while editing this, I realized that I wasn't very clear on the whole like if you have a period thing. So I just wanted to say that so if you're supposed to be having a period, meaning that like you're the right age and you're not on hormone blockers, then you should, and your doctor thinks you should be having a period, then you should be having a period. even if you don't identify as female and you have a period, I know you probably don't want a period for the reason of like getting pregnant, but still, that just means your body is functioning at a good rate, I guess. Yeah. That's all.
My family bought me trivia books to read to me during meals, and that was also helpful. So we would even, my sister would pull up her phone at a restaurant and she would read to me, or in the hospital. Normally my tube feed would be right when my parents were coming, so they would just read to me and distract me and fill me with what was going on in their lives, and that was just super, super helpful. Now, another thing, when I was getting my tube feed at the hospital, I'm not sure I mentioned this in my NG tube video, which I will link below, but I read books while I was getting my tube feed, specifically ones that are extremely just like dramatic and has all these problems that just like I was not dealing with, so I could just focus on something else instead of the fact that, you know, there was a tube up my nose and down my stomach and it was feeding me stuff that I did not want to be fed because of my anorexia. So I found that very helpful. And also at my treatment center, they would let me watch videos on my phone, or they would just have a conversation with me while they would push water or boost. So if you are experiencing gas pain, I recommend laying on your left side. Something about that helps release gas. Now, I don't recommend laying down if you are extremely full and nauseous, because just laying in that position and not being upright is hard with things like acid reflux. So another thing is to think of food as medicine. Now, Stephanie Marie talks a lot about how you just need to remember that food is your medicine and you have to take it because it is so important, like I said already like 2 times in this video, that you get to a place where you are nourished, and if you are supposed to have a period, that you have your period, and also that you are up to your weight set by your dietitian and or doctor. I feel like I'm gonna say that 50 times. But yeah, as Stephanie said, like, if you have, like, let's say you have strep throat, you're not just gonna take your medicine, you know, just when you feel like it, because that's not going to get you better. You have to be consistent, and you have to take it when you are supposed to. Eating is mandatory. It is mandatory to live. It is mandatory to be healthy. Your body needs it, and it is going to help you so much from your eating disorder. Now, of course, eating disorders are mental illnesses. So not eating, excessive exercise, binging, purging, whatever behaviors you have, those are just symptoms, but it is a mental thing. Now, refeeding can be helpful, but it is not the only thing that is helpful. I think this is a common misconception in eating disorders, that if you just eat, you will feel better because your brain is malnourished, but it's not just that. It's not just a malnourished thing. I know that Freely the Banana Girl has given wrong information that if you just eat, you will be cured, and that's not how it works. There's therapy involved, there's eating involved, weight restoration. There are multiple things involved that will cure you from your eating disorder. I know that FBT sometimes does not allow Boost or Ensure or Resource or Breeze or anything like that, but I do think if you have that, it is very important to know, and this will take some practice, but it is important to know when, hey, I'm getting too full, I think I should Boost for the rest of this. Boost can be very helpful with Fullness because typically it is a lower volume and sometimes it is easier to drink something. Now, Boost and breeze and ensure and all that can be extremely scary because it is a high calorie drink. But it is important, again, to remember this is my medicine. This is going to help me so much, and this is what I need to do to live and get healthy again. So at the table, it is important to sit up straight and kind of be a little bit back while you're eating, so that you're not hunched over and you're not like squeezing your stomach together. So just like sit up straight and just kind of breathe through the pain, because sometimes there is pain with eating and sometimes you are extremely full, but you just have to eat through it. It's not one of those things where you can just stop when you're full. You have to continue. You have to realize that your body is sick, and eating intuitively is not going to help you get better, because sometimes your digestive system and your metabolism are damaged because of your eating disorder. So you do have to wait a while till you can trust your body again and eat intuitively. One thing people did at my treatment center was make recovery placemats that had quotes on it and just stuff to motivate them while they were eating. If you are eating with a family member at home or with a staff, it can be helpful to match your pacing with the staff. Now, of course, sometimes you're gonna have more food than the staff, you're gonna have more food than your family or your siblings or even just another patient. But I think it's really important to not compare, but match your eating with the staff member or the parent that does not also have an eating disorder. Again, like I said, it is hard to eat a lot more than the average person would eat or need, but you're not average. You need to, be weight restored. You need to get back to being healthy. So it is helpful during refeeding and weight restoration to tell your doctors how you are feeling. It is helpful to complain, and it is helpful to just let them know what's going on, your digestive system, your metabolism, how hungry you're feeling, how full you're feeling, because you do have to eat, but there are things that can help you. One thing is Zantac. Zantac is an acid reflux medication. Acid reflux is when acid comes up in your throat. So it is similar to throwing up, but nothing actually comes out of your mouth. Usually you just swallow it back down. I know it's gross, but sometimes when you're extremely full or you've eaten a food that's upset your stomach that your body's not used to digesting, then you will experience that. But Zantac can help because it helps reduce the acid in your stomach. Another thing that's helpful is Gas-X. Now, Gas-X does not take away your gas. Gas-X makes you fart more. And people might not want to take it because of that, but gas pains can be extremely, extremely painful. You can feel gas pain basically anywhere from your neck to your hips. You can feel it in your stomach, in your back. If you have boobs, you can feel it in your boobs, and it sucks. But farting is normal, guys. Try not to be embarrassed of farting. At my treatment center, no one's embarrassed of farting. No one's embarrassed of pooping or anything like that, because it is a normal body function, and sometimes these body functions are increased because of the discomfort we're putting in our bodies. But you have to remember that the discomfort is going to be short term. You are going to get better. Yes, you might struggle with digestive problems for the rest of your life, but the temporary refeeding pain will go away. The third medication that I was put on but cannot handle anymore because of my heart also helps with acid reflux, and it's called Reglan. This is a helpful medicine with acid reflux because it again helps reduce the acid in your stomach. Now, the last thing is to trust your dietitian. There was a huge poster in one of the dining rooms that said, "Keep calm and trust your dietitian." And this is so important, guys, because your dietitian, they know what they are doing. Especially if you are in a treatment center, make sure your dietitian is trained in eating disorders. It is important for them to know what is going on with your body. It's also important for you to give them information and your doctors so you can help with the pain, the physical and mental pain that comes along with refeeding and weight restoration. I just want to end this video by saying, if you do not have to go through weight restoration or refeeding, it does not mean that you don't have an eating disorder. Eating disorders do not discriminate, okay? It doesn't matter if you're underweight or an average weight or overweight, you can still have an eating disorder. Same goes with gender, ethnicity, sexuality. It doesn't matter. If you have an eating disorder, you have an eating disorder. You do not have to be going through refeeding to have an eating disorder. And I really just want to say, don't let anyone tell you. You can be in treatment and not need to refeed, because it's so important to catch your eating disorder and to get help for your eating disorder as early as possible. And that is one thing that the National Eating Disorder Association website talks about, and I will link that down below as well. Okay guys, so that is it for today's video. If you have any requests, you can comment below or you can DM me on my recovery Instagram, which I will put right here. I'm going to point to the right spot this time, guys, I promise. And yeah, I will also link it below. Subscribe, like, comment. Okay, guys, I will see you in my next video. I love you all. Goodbye.